Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie, and welcome to Talk 100 Pro Max, the podcast where we share clear and practical financial ideas to help you manage your money wisely, build better habits, and make smarter financial decisions.
That's right. I'm Marcus, and our goal is to help you understand money, avoid common financial mistakes, and grow step by step toward financial stability and long-term freedom.
If you find value in this content, please subscribe to Talk 100 Pro Max. Your support helps us grow and motivates us to create more financial content like this for you.
Let's get started.
Marcus, today we are talking about something that can feel like surgery. We're talking about cutting unnecessary expenses to grow financially. For some people, this sounds like they have to stop living, but for me, it feels like weeding a garden. If you don't pull the weeds, the flowers, your goals, don't have room to grow. Why is it so hard for people to identify what is unnecessary?
It's hard because of normalcy bias. We get used to our lifestyle so quickly that we start to view wants as needs. We think, I need high-speed fiber internet, 3 streaming services, and a new phone every year. In reality, those are all choices. Cutting expenses isn't about deprivation, it's about optimization. It's asking the question, is this expense providing me more value than the financial freedom it is delaying? Usually, the answer is a resounding no.
Optimization. I love that word. It sounds so much more professional than skimping. When I look at my bank statement, I see micro leaks. It's not usually one $500 purchase that breaks people. It's 50 $10 purchases. It's the convenience fees, the premium versions of apps, and the while I'm here items at the store. How do we start the audit process to find these leaks?
You have to do a full financial scan. For the next 30 days, every time money leaves your hand or your account, you have to categorize it. But here's the trick. You have to label it as essential, value-adding, or waste. Essential is rent or food. Value-adding is something that truly makes your life better or helps you grow. Waste is everything else. Most people are shocked to find that 20 to 30% of their spending is in the waste category.
30%? That's massive. That's literally the difference between being broke and being wealthy. I remember auditing my subscriptions last year. I found out I was paying for a fitness app I hadn't opened in 6 months and a premium shipping service for a store I barely used. That was $40 a month just vanishing. Over 10 years, that $40 invested would be nearly $7,000. I was basically throwing a used car in the trash.
That is exactly right. People don't see the future value of their waste. They just see the $10 or $20 today. But wealth is built on the compounding of small amounts. When you cut an unnecessary expense, you aren't just saving that money once, you're saving it every month for the rest of your life. It's a permanent raise that you give to yourself.
A permanent raise. That is so empowering. Marcus, let's talk about the big wins in cutting. We often talk about lattes, but what about the big expenses, like insurance, cell phone plans, or interest rates?
Those are the low-hanging fruit that people ignore because they seem fixed. In 2026, the market is so competitive. If you haven't called your car insurance company or your internet provider in a year, you're probably overpaying. A 15-minute phone call can often save you $50 a month. That's $600 a year for 15 minutes of work. That's a wage of $2,400 an hour. Who wouldn't take that job?
I'll take that job every day. I did this with my cell phone plan. I switched to a smaller MVNO carrier that uses the same towers as the big guys. My bill went from $90 to $25. Same service, same phone, but I found $65 a month. That $65 is now automatically going into my index fund. I didn't have to work harder for that money. I just had to spend smarter.
That is the essence of financial growth through cutting. It's efficiency. Another big one is the dining out versus groceries debate. We've touched on this, but let's look at it through the lens of the convenience tax. When you pay for someone else to cook and deliver your food, you're paying a 300 to 500% markup. Is that meal really 5 times better than what you could make at home? Usually, it's just that you were too tired to cook.
Too tired is the most expensive feeling in the world. But you're right. If we cut those convenience expenses and redirect them, the growth is exponential. Marcus, how do we handle this social pressure of cutting? If you stop going to the expensive Saturday brunch, your friends might think you're being no fun.
You have to redefine fun. Is fun only possible if it costs $50 plus tip? Of course not. You can suggest a coffee and walk or a potluck movie night. If your friends only want to hang out with you when you're spending money, they're not your friends, they're your spending buddies. Real friends want to see you succeed. When you tell them, "Hey, I'm cutting back to hit a big goal," a real friend will say, "That's awesome. How can I help?"
Spending buddies. That is a brutal but necessary distinction. I've found that when I started being open about my cutting, some of my friends actually followed suit. They were also stressed about money, but were too afraid to be the first one to say, "This brunch is too expensive." You can be a leader in your social circle.
You are the alpha of your finances. You set the tone. Another area to cut is brand loyalty. In 2026, generic or store brands are often identical in quality to name brands. If you switch to the store brand for your staples, cleaning supplies, medications, basic pantry items, you can save 30% on your grocery bill without changing what you eat. It's a painless cut.
I call that the label tax. You're paying for their marketing department, not the product. I'm not interested in funding a multi-million-dollar ad campaign every time I buy laundry detergent. Marcus, let's talk about the hidden costs of owning things. Sometimes cutting an expense means getting rid of the thing itself.
This is the total cost of ownership. If you have a boat that you use twice a year, you aren't just paying for the boat. You're paying for storage, insurance, maintenance, and registration. If you sell the boat and just rent one twice a year, you've cut a massive recurring drain on your wealth. The same goes for extra cars, storage units, or even a house that is too big. Everything you own has a maintenance cost in terms of money and time.
Everything you own owns a piece of you. If you have a storage unit, you are literally paying rent for stuff that you don't even use. That is the definition of an unnecessary expense. I've seen people pay $150 a month for years to store $500 worth of old furniture. The math just doesn't work.
It's sunk cost fallacy. We think, I paid a lot for this, so I have to keep it. But the money is already gone. Keeping it and paying to store it just makes the loss bigger every month. Cut the cord. Sell it, donate it, or throw it away. Clear the space and clear the expense.
Marcus, let's talk about the psychology of the cut. When we cut an expense, our brain sometimes feels a loss. How do we shift that to feeling like a win?
You have to rename the savings. Don't think of it as, I lost my Netflix. Think of it as, I just bought $15 worth of my future house. When you connect the cut to a specific, exciting goal, the loss disappears. You weren't cutting, you were trading. You were trading a temporary distraction for a permanent foundation.
Trading a distraction for a foundation. I'm writing that down. It makes so much sense. I also think we should talk about variable cuts. For example, your electricity bill. You can't cut electricity, but you can cut the cost of it by being more efficient.
That's behavioral cutting. Turn off the lights, adjust the thermostat by 2 degrees, and unplug vampire electronics. It sounds small, but over a year, it adds up. In 2026, with energy prices where they are, these small habits are the difference between a $150 bill and a $250 bill. That's $1,200 a year, enough for a nice vacation or a significant investment boost.
It's all about the aggregated gains. 1% here, 2% there, and suddenly you have a 20% surplus. Marcus, what about the treat yourself trap? People say, I work so hard, I deserve this $100 spa day, $200 pair of shoes, $1,000 vacation.
You do deserve those things, but you deserve financial peace more. The I deserve it mentality is usually used to justify an impulse. If you truly deserved it, you would have budgeted for it and saved the cash. If you're putting a reward on a credit card, you aren't rewarding yourself. You're punishing your future self with interest and stress. The ultimate reward is looking at your bank account and feeling zero fear.
Zero fear. That is the Pro Max luxury. I want us to talk about the replacement habit. If you cut an expensive habit, like going to the movies every week, what should you replace it with so you don't feel the void?
You have to find high-value, low-cost alternatives. Instead of the $60 movie night, tickets, popcorn, parking, have a themed night at home. Invite friends, make popcorn on the stove, and watch a classic. The value is the connection and the entertainment, and you can get that for $5 instead of $60. The void is only there if you focus on what you're not doing. If you focus on the new, creative way to enjoy life, there is no void.
I've actually found that my life got richer when I cut the unnecessary expenses. I started reading more, library is free, I started hiking, nature is free, and I started learning to cook, cheaper and healthier. My frugal life is actually much more interesting than my consumer life was.
That's because you are now an active participant in your life instead of a passive consumer. When you have to find ways to have fun without spending money, you become more creative and more engaged. You're building life skills instead of just buying experiences.
Marcus, how do we handle the big cut, like moving to a smaller apartment or getting rid of a car? That feels very permanent and very scary for people.
You have to look at the freedom number. If moving to a smaller place saves you $800 a month, that's $9,600 a year. In 5 years, with interest, that's nearly $60,000. Is the extra bedroom worth $60,000 of your life? When you see the price tag of your lifestyle in terms of future freedom, the scary decision becomes a logical one. It's a strategic pivot. You aren't moving down, you're moving towards your goals.
A strategic pivot. I love that. It takes the shame out of downsizing. It's not a failure. It's a brilliant move to accelerate your wealth. Marcus, let's talk about the tools for cutting. Are there apps or systems that help you identify these unnecessary costs?
There are apps in 2026 that scan your bank statements and flag recurring subscriptions or high-cost categories. They can even negotiate some bills for you. But the best tool is still your own brain and a highlighter. Print out your last 3 months of statements and highlight anything that didn't provide long-term value. It's a very sobering exercise.
It's like looking in a mirror after a long winter. You see exactly where the extra weight is. But once you see it, you can do something about it. I want to talk about the 48-hour rule for cutting. If you see something you want to buy, you wait 48 hours. But how do we apply that to cutting an existing expense?
Use the trial cut. If you're not sure you can live without a certain streaming service or a certain luxury, cancel it for 1 month. Just 1 month. If you truly miss it and your life is significantly worse without it, you can bring it back. But 9 times out of 10, you'll realize you didn't even notice it was gone. You were just paying for it out of habit.
Habit is the most expensive thing we own. We pay for things just because we've always had them. I did a trial cut on my premium gym membership and started working out at the local park and at home. I realized I actually preferred the fresh air. That was $120 a month that I recovered from my budget.
$120 a month is $1,440 a year. That's a significant found money situation. Marcus, as we look at the goal of growing financially, how does cutting expenses speed up the process compared to just earning more?
Cutting is instant and tax-free. If you want to earn an extra $100, you have to work the hours, pay the income tax, pay the Social Security, and you might only see $70 of it. If you cut $100 of waste, you get the full $100 immediately. Cutting is the most efficient way to increase your net income. It's the shortest path to surplus.
And it's entirely within your control. You don't have to ask a boss for a raise or wait for a promotion to cut your expenses. You can do it tonight. You can give yourself a 10% raise by 9 p.m. just by going through your bills. That is the Pro Max level of financial agency.
I want our listeners to feel that power tonight. Don't wait. Don't say, I'll do it next month. The next month version of you will have $100 less than the today version of you if you don't act.
Marcus, let's talk about the investment pivot. Once you cut $200 a month in waste, where should that money go so it grows financially?
It must be rerouted immediately. If you cut the $200 and leave it in your checking account, it will just be absorbed by other spending. You have to set up an automatic transfer for that exact amount to your investment account. This is how you turn waste into wealth. You are literally taking money from a company, the one you stopped paying, and giving it to yourself, your future.
You're firing the unnecessary service and hiring your future self. That is a great way to look at it. I'm firing my unused cable package and hiring my retirement at 55 plan.
I love that. You're fired, cable package. You just didn't meet the performance standards. Future Natalie is a much better worker, so she's getting your salary. That is the mindset.
It makes it fun. It turns the boring task of cutting expenses into a strategic game of wealth building. Marcus, we have so much more to talk about, like the grocery store tactics and how to negotiate your bills like a pro.
Oh, the grocery store is a minefield of unnecessary expenses. We definitely need to tackle that. And negotiation is a skill that pays for itself 10 times over.
We're going to get into all of that, but for now, let's leave our listeners with a one-item challenge. Find one recurring expense tonight, just one, that you don't use or don't value, and cancel it.
Just one. It could be $5, it could be $50. Just prove to yourself that you are in control.
That one cut is the first brick in your mansion of financial freedom.
Well said, Natalie. Let's take a quick breather and then we'll come back to dive into the nitty-gritty of where the most common financial leaks are found in 2026.
I'm ready. Let's go find some money.
Stay with us, Talk 100 Pro Max family. We're about to supercharge your savings.
Natalie, before we go, I have to ask, do you have any unnecessary expenses that you're still fighting with?
You caught me. I still struggle with specialty coffee beans. I love a good roast, but I've learned to optimize it by buying in bulk and grinding them myself. I get the Pro Max taste for the budget price.
See, even the experts are always optimizing.
It's a lifelong journey, Natalie. There is always a way to be more efficient.
Let's keep moving on that journey.
Let's do it.
Natalie, we were just talking about the strategic pivot of cutting big expenses, but I want to get into the battlefield where most of us lose our money every single week, the grocery store. In 2026, it's not just about inflation. It's about the psychology they use to make us overspend. Have you noticed how the store layout is basically designed to drain our wallets?
It absolutely is, Natalie. It's called scripted disorientation. They put the essentials, milk, eggs, bread, at the very back of the store, so you have to walk past thousands of tempting high-margin items just to get what you actually need. And let's talk about eye level is buy level. The products at your eye level are usually the most expensive brand names. If you simply look at the bottom shelf, you'll find the same quality for 30% less.
Look down to save up. I love that. And I've started using the unit price trick. In 2026, packaging is getting smaller, but the prices stay the same. They call it shrinkflation. If you don't look at the price per ounce or per gram, you might think you're getting a deal when you're actually paying a premium for a smaller box.
Exactly. And the ultimate grocery store hack? Never shop hungry. Research shows that if you shop while your stomach is growling, you'll spend up to 20% more on impulse items like snacks and pre-made meals. I always tell people to eat before you treat. If your belly is full, your logic stays in charge of the cart.
Eat before you treat. My logic definitely goes out the window when I see those artisanal cheeses on an empty stomach. But let's move from the grocery store to the silent killers of our bank accounts, the vampire subscription effect. Marcus, the average household in 2026 is spending over $2,000 a year on subscriptions they barely use. How do we stop the bleeding?
You have to do a subscription purge. Once a quarter, you should look at your digital wallet or bank statement. If you haven't used a service in the last 30 days, cancel it immediately. We often think, but I might want to watch that one show next month. Fine, cancel it now and resubscribe next month if you actually remember. Most people forget and just find an extra $15 a month in their pocket.
I've started doing subscription rotation. I only allow myself 2 streaming services at a time. If I want to watch something on a third one, I have to cancel one of the first 2. It keeps the cost capped, and it actually makes me enjoy what I'm watching more because I'm being intentional.
That's a pro-max move, Natalie. It's about intentional friction. The reason companies love subscriptions is that they rely on our laziness. They make it 1 click to sign up and 10 clicks to cancel. You have to be willing to do those 10 clicks to protect your financial future.
It's worth the effort. Now let's talk about a skill that most people are terrified of: negotiation. Marcus, most people think the price on their internet bill or insurance premium is the price. But in 2026, almost everything is negotiable if you know how to ask.
People are afraid of the word no. But in finance, no is just the beginning of the conversation. I call the local cable or internet provider every year and say the magic words, "I'm considering switching to a competitor. Is there anything you can do to help me stay?" 8 times out of 10, they will find a retention discount or a new promotion that saves you $20 to $40 a month. That's hundreds of dollars for a 10-minute phone call.
It's like finding money on the sidewalk, and you can do it with insurance too. If you've been with the same car insurance company for 3 years, you're almost certainly being loyalty taxed. They raise rates on loyal customers because they know they won't shop around. Spend 30 minutes getting 3 new quotes once a year. It's the highest hourly rate you'll ever earn.
The loyalty tax. That is a brutal truth. In 2026, companies don't reward loyalty, they exploit it. You have to be a free agent with your money. Always be looking for the best value.
Marcus, I want to talk about the delivery app trap. In 2026, we've become so addicted to convenience that we'll pay $25 for a $12 burrito. Between the delivery fee, the service fee, the small order fee, and the tip, the markup is often 70% or more.
It's a wealth killer. If you order delivery just twice a week, you are spending over $3,000 a year on convenience. That $3,000, if invested, could be $50,000 in your retirement fund a decade from now. I tell people to embrace the pickup rule. If you want takeout, you have to go get it yourself. Not only do you save the fees, but the extra effort usually makes you ask, do I really want this burrito enough to drive 10 minutes for it? Half the time the answer is no, and you just save $25.
The pickup rule is a great filter for hunger versus boredom. I also want to address vampire electronics. We're in 2026, and our homes are filled with smart devices that are always on. Even when they're off, they're drawing power.
It's called phantom load. Your TV, your gaming console, your coffee maker, they're all sipping electricity 24/7. Using smart power strips that cut power completely when devices aren't in use can save the average household $100 to $200 a year on utilities. It's a passive cut that requires 0 effort after the initial setup.
Passive savings are the best savings. Marcus, let's talk about the flagship phone tax. We're seeing people upgrade their phones every 12 months for $1,200. But in 2026, the difference between this year's model and last year's is almost 0 for the average user.
We've hit peak smartphone. Unless you're a professional photographer or a high-end gamer, a 3-year-old phone works perfectly. If you keep your phone for 4 years instead of 2, you're saving $600 a year on average. Over a decade, that's $6,000, plus the interest you'd earn by investing it. I call it belong phone life. It's a status symbol of intelligence, not poverty.
Intelligence is the new status symbol. I love that. It's about being pro-max with your brain, not just your gadgets. Marcus, as we look at all these cuts, the groceries, the subscriptions, the delivery, the utilities, it starts to add up to a massive amount of found money.
It's an economic stimulus package for your own life. For most people, these cuts can easily total $500 to $1,000 a month. That is life-changing money. But the danger is absorption. If you don't move that money into a separate growth account, the moment you save it, you'll just spend it on something else that feels necessary.
You have to seal the leak. If you cancel a $15 subscription, immediately set up a $15 monthly transfer to your brokerage account. If you save $50 on your phone bill, move that $50. You want to see the waste physically transform into wealth.
That is the ultimate motivation. When you see your investment account grow because you chose a home-cooked meal over a delivery app, the sacrifice feels like a victory. You start looking for more things to cut because you're addicted to the growth.
It becomes a game. How much of my life can I buy back today? Marcus, what do you say to the person who says, "But Natalie, I only live once. I want to enjoy my money now"?
I say, exactly. You only live once, so why spend your one life working a job you hate just to pay for a subscription you don't watch? Cutting unnecessary expenses isn't about less life, it's about more freedom. It's about making sure that the money you work so hard for is actually buying you the life you want, not just the life the marketers told you that you want.
The life the marketers told you that you want. That is so powerful. We are surrounded by engineered desire. Every ad is designed to make us feel incomplete without their product. Cutting expenses is an act of financial rebellion. It's saying, I am enough and I don't need your stuff to prove it.
A rebellion that makes you rich. Who wouldn't want to join that? Natalie, I think we've given our listeners enough ammunition today to go out and perform some serious surgery on their budgets.
I think so too. My challenge for everyone listening: do a financial audit tonight. Print out your last 3 months of bank statements, get 3 highlighters: green for growth, savings and investments, yellow for life, housing, food, and red for waste. If your red is bigger than your green, you have work to do.
And don't be discouraged if there's a lot of red. Be excited. Every red item is an opportunity to grow. Every red item is a gift you haven't given your future self yet.
I love that perspective. Red is opportunity. Marcus, it's been another incredible conversation. I'm going home to check my phantom loads and see if I can find another $10.
I'll be checking my grocery receipts for unit price errors. We never stop growing, Natalie.
Never. Thank you all for joining us on Talk 100 Pro Max. If you cut an expense today because of this episode, tell us about it. We want to celebrate your strategic pivots with you.
Your freedom is our mission. Let's keep building.
Until next time, stay intentional and keep those scissors sharp.
Take care, everyone.
Music starts.
You know, I actually found a way to negotiate my trash pickup bill last week.
No way. The trash bill? Marcus, you really are the king of the cut.
Hey, $10 is $10. That's 2 extra shares of my favorite index fund.
I can't argue with that math. See you later, Marcus.
See ya.